Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And unfortunately, there is no Ron as he cries himself to sleep in first class seat to whatever country he's flying off to now. But for the first time ever, you've heard us mention him numerous times in the pod. As a matter of fact, he is writing an original song for us about Jurgen Klopp, as was thrown out in the previous pod. But a friend of the pod, a footy fan, a Klopp lover, and a Liverpool supporter, the lovable, talented Tony sounds good.
Good day.
Good day, my good sir. Good day. Heck yeah.
Welcome, man.
I expected you just to look at me and go, "You're not Ron."
I thought yesterday, Ferris, like, hey, let's still do this, man. We can just celebrate our team's winning. And then it's like Ferris was like, no, I need a victim for this pod still. So let's get Tony on the pod and make sure we can at least have someone whose team lost on this week's.
I knew that's why. He's going to keep insisting that's not why, but I think that's why I'm here.
I promise you it's not. I will explain how the thought came to me literally an hour and a half ago or 2 hours ago now, whatever it was.
He's like, my team finally didn't look like trash. And Tony's team did. And it was to Blake's team.
I might actually defend you here at times, though.
Yeah, Ferris has become an odd Liverpool fan from time to time, as long as Arsenal's involved. So speaking of, that's going to be our discussion. That's going to be the match of the week. Arsenal, big win over Liverpool. And then we're going to discuss the good week that Manchester United had and their youngsters. Their veterans, garbage still, but the youngsters looking great.
100% true.
Nothing not accurate there. All before we're going to go over the rest of the Premier League results with our 2-minute drill. And since I have moved to Connecticut, I have not had my studio set up. It's just set up, and I'm taking over the pod recording duties. So apologize for any weird sound effects that are different from prior times or just sound weird, or how much time I add to myself editing this pod as I go, those are garbage. I have to remove them all and insert a different one. But we're going to do our 2-minute drill as we go through the rest of the Premier League. And then we'll have an extra time for the first half as just like, man, Ron's not even here and you got a weird one going.
Yeah.
Like, what is this one? The Mateus,
as the Mateus Cunha hat trick for Wolves against Chelsea will have the first ever Ron's catastrophic Chelsea corner, but without Ron.
I mean, the catastrophic Chelsea. Oh, geez, I can't even say it. The catastrophic Chelsea corner.
Yeah.
We can't make that a regular. I don't know. We might need to make that a regular thing.
Because it's not, right? Because Ron's usually on the pod.
Well,
but
unless
this is catastrophic corner without Ron.
Who do they play next week? Because if they lose again, Ron will do it.
Yeah, but it's not the same segment because it's not without Ron.
It's fair enough. Well, fair enough.
So he can, or I can come up with a new name for that, but it's the catastrophic Chelsea corner without Ron.
Trademark.
They're brutal. We'll get to that. Then we're going to close the plot out with a little La Liga's roundup. Whoosh! I did not download that sound effect.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I did. So you get that one analog style. But first up, hey, Tony, I assume everybody's got beer?
I do.
All right. Guest of the pod, what beer you got?
Ooh. All right. So in honor of our dearly beloved Klopp, and I say ours because I know you all love Klopp as well, even though you're not really.
Hey, listen, he was Dortmund. Yes.
I would drink a beer in a heartbeat with that dude.
100%.
I'm drinking a Sideward Brewing Dream Beach because wherever he goes, I hope it's a nice sunny beach where he can just lay back and dream of happy times. I hope he's able to get his energy back and maybe one day be a pundit somewhere, or just, move to Orlando and hang out with me. This is by Sideward Brewing right here in Orlando. My sister's the taproom manager there, so I bought this directly from her.
Sweet.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, you've had Sideward on before, but they're a great brewery. I love all their stuff. I love their aesthetic. They do a lot of punk theme and old tattoo style stuff on all their beer cans. And yeah, this is a Brazilian lemonade style sour.
Well, we've never had that beer.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had to bring something that Ron wouldn't drink.
Love your style.
Yep. Bingo.
I almost did an IPA, but I'm like, Ron brings IPAs all the time.
Well,
And he's feeling sour about that win.
Well, I'm doing the win in New England. Have something from New England Brewing Company. What I have here, gentlemen, is given the week, the top rated beer from Connecticut. So kind of, if you're on Beer Advocate or Rate Beer, it kind of bounces back and forth. However, I will say, while it might bounce back and forth in the top slot, it has way more reviews by like a lot than the one that it dances with. So I think that's more impressive. And this is, and it's adorable, so I don't know how well you can see it, but it is one well known up here, up in Connecticut. This is the Fuzzy Baby Ducks Indian Pale Ale, where there is a unicorn crapping out a rainbow that 3 rubber ducks with hearts are sliding down. This is from New England Brewing Company over in Woodbridge, Connecticut. It's our third single hop beer brewed with 100% Citra hops, big citrus aroma with a delicious, delicate, dry malt presence, juicy, resinous, orangery hop flavor makes this beer a treat for lovers of hoppy beer. Drink it because it's good. Which is their tagline. Drink it. It's good.
Simple.
Yep.
Elegant. Love it.
I've seen this company everywhere, but I did not realize that this particular one rated that high. And of course it is a New England Pale Ale.
When in Rome.
Exactly.
Well, the beer that I have is actually from a brewery right near where Tony and I live in Ocoee, Florida, which is basically Orlando, just the suburb, if you will, of Orlando. But the brewery, when I thought about it, is what made me think, like I said 2 hours ago, hey, Ron's out. We can all bash on Chelsea. Why don't we have Tony on? And then I was like, oh, crap. Well, it was a big game, and his club was a part of it. I honestly didn't mean to bring you on when your team drops the points, but with Klopp and with Liverpool, and it's only their second loss, I was like, let me just call him. Because I asked Blake, I was like, hey, what if we can get him on? And Blake was like, yeah, do it. So anyways, I was heading to Toll Road afterward.
That's why Blake said, okay.
Well, we've also threatened to have you in the pod like several times. So actually, it's good that's finally happening.
Exactly. So on the way home from work is where I thought of all this, going to Toll Road, because I was like, I just need to get a different beer than going into the back of the beer fridge for something that was ages old, as if you heard the last pod. Yeah. God only knows how old that is. So it's like, well, exactly. So the brewery is Toll Road Brewing Company in Ocoee, Florida. Awesome little tap room in the small Ocoee downtown on the corner, but such a good vibe, such good beer. You can go to tollroadbrewing.com. I can't remember if we ever had them on the pod or not before, but nonetheless, I
can't remember.
I'm having Shamrocks and Shenanigans, a red ale, Irish red, 5.3%. Tony, have you ever had this before?
I have, and it is excellent.
It is fantastic. It was a service industry night there, actually, so I had that one and another beer on BOGO, but brought a 4-pack home of it. So that's what I'll be having. Now, I was going to read kind of the review on, or like not a review, but kind of their thing on it. They just essentially have a live tap list on their website, again, tollroadbrewing.com. But as I was kind of searching for some info on this, I found this really good review on floridabeerblog.wordpress.com. And it's a very good article that just says, I'll kind of read it as fast as I can here. But, and so we find ourselves in downtown Ocoee, a place close to Orlando, but not far away, that tourists have no idea how to pronounce it. Near the top of the year, I sat down with co-owner Dune Oren to discuss opening a little brewery in an old automotive repair facility. They revitalized of downtown Ocoee, and beer and wonderful beer. I know charming, it isn't the most aggressive, testosterone laden adjective to use for a brewery, but Toll Road is charming. It's a cute little corner location in what looks to be a fun and rapidly growing section of West Orange County, and they've gotten quite a lot of hardware into the repair bay they use as their brewing space. And it's in a weird way, that's it. But it's such a good, just charming brewery. Because I was saying, not
it feels very local. Like, it feels like everybody's welcome there, but it feels like a place that people in the town are just like, this is our place. Like,
yeah,
makes sense.
Oh yeah, my old boss was there. I say was. He still goes there all the time. Like, and yeah, the old art and design crew from Universal.
Oh
goes
yeah,
there frequently.
oh yeah. It's just an awesome place. So the article went on to say, not to mention that what comes out of a little brewery nook is quite something. I realized that as I enjoyed a pint of shamrocks and shenanigans. Again, it's an Irish Red, 5.3% ABV, 24 on the old IBU, as Ron likes to say, if you're clocking it at home. This fantastic Irish Red manages to go everywhere at once. It brings in delectable caramel notes, but not too many, still staying bright and smooth with an easy-to-drink mouthfeel. There's also a nice undercurrent of earthy hops, but it's not dank or piney at all. The correct flavors comes from the hops and malts, keeping the beer exciting and fresh with something new coming every time you sip. And yes, that is a perfect description of this beer, as I had it on tap there and about to have for you here. Again, that review is from floridabeerblog.wordpress.com, and the brewery is Toll Road Brewing.
Well, shall we, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Oh God. Oh God. Beer just went everywhere. Oh God. Well, there you go. My new office had not smelled like that, and now it does. Oh. It smells like I just opened 4 orange juice like gallons over here. It's so citrusy. I don't mind the beer spilling. What's wild is like it does have like a lot of malt like on the smell.
Oh, man.
Cheers,
this
gentlemen.
Oh boy, here we go. Cilantro boys.
Skull.
Welcome to the pod, Tony.
Wow, thank you for having me.
Well, goodness gracious me, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason that this beer has rated so high in the what is the Connecticut's nickname? Is it the Granite State? No, that's New Hampshire. I got to look it up. But there's a reason that it rated so high here in Connecticut. That
you just lost all your Connecticut listeners.
Amazing. Well, hopefully they've just started tuning in. They've tuned out yet.
Listen, there's a lot of mob folk, up there, so we don't want to.
Now I've really lost everybody.
So Blake, please be sure to get whatever the name of the lovely and wonderful state of Connecticut is.
Officially, it's the Constitution State. But I think for our pod, it does have another nickname.
Okay.
The Nutmeg State. Yeah. Which is exactly how that goal at Arsenal occurred. Going right between the legs.
And how Kobe Mainoo's goal against Wolves started off. So, yeah, good shout there, boy.
Yeah, I like that.
Isn't
Nutmeg State.
We hadn't even gotten to the topic yet.
No. Nope.
Let me get some beer in me before we jump in.
Tony, I don't know if you've ever listened to the pod before, but the beer does lead into the soccer talk.
It's true.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
It's true. Oh, we don't have Ron here to give us our magisterial quote from Mr. Hudson.
We will leave that to just him, so we will forego that at the moment.
We'll let that stay with Ron, but we'll take the Chelsea dumpster fire. What was it?
Oh hell! The catastrophic Chelsea corner.
There we go.
Without Ron.
There you go. Yeah, without. Well, here we go. Let's kick it off. On Sunday, the big match of the weekend did not disappoint as first place Liverpool took on third place Arsenal at the Emirates, with all eyes watching and Arsenal only winning one of these encounters in the last 3 years. The match was filled with goalie blunders, own goals, a red card, manager celebrations, and even Ramsdale standing on the lovely plush Arsenal race car seats to give Anthony Taylor an earful. That was awesome, by the way. Yeah, nonetheless, Arsenal came away with a big win as they got the monkey off their back and beat Liverpool 3-1 with goals from Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard. Gentlemen, overall thoughts on the match? And we both looked at Tony because he's the guest.
You know, I'm gonna disagree with the conceit that you first said that the match did not disappoint, because I'm gonna say that it did, and not just as a Liverpool fan. I will say, if I can take the Liverpool hat off my head for a minute, that I feel like neither team looked especially sharp. I expected more out of that game, and that game was more who was going to mess up more, and the answer was by far Liverpool, but I never felt like Arsenal looked scary. Liverpool definitely looked disorganized. We really were missing Zoboslai, I think, is the one we were missing the most. McAllister was unimpressive, which I actually think he has been a lot this season. So yeah, I think that the game overall was just kind of meh. And poor Allison. You know, I think I said in our text thread that when you have a goalie as good as Allison, he's going to have like one terrible blunder a quarter, sometimes two. He happened to have both in this game, just got him out of the way for the rest of the season. But yeah, I think overall, I think it was kind of an ugly game. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't agree with you. It was an ugly game. It was a weird game because I think Arsenal deserved the win. They were the better team on the day by far. Now, I think I texted in the group. I said, it was at the end of the match or something like, hey, this game was 3-1. Probably should have been 1-0 because it was an own goal for Liverpool on a goalie center back. I know Van Dijk came out and said it was on me. Error. It was a Ramsdale Saliba, or not Ramsdale, Raya Saliba thing that led to a goal. There was Saka's goal was a Havertz, not miss, but a hell of a save by Alisson that landed right at the feet of Saka. And then the last goal by Trossard was a good goal, but Liverpool never adjusted to that right back being sent off. So there was this massive gap on that side of the field. And with a team like Arsenal, they took full advantage of that. So for me, it was like a 1-0 win for Liverpool. And the errors...
You mean for Arsenal?
Sorry, yes. Yes.
Yeah. I knew what you meant.
So sorry. Yeah. Correct. You would have never been able to tell with Arteta's celebrations, which, surprising, Blake, I actually did not have a problem with. But did you listen to any commentary after the game from any of any sort of like British podcast, Sirius XM, in the counter attack show, in
all the crap
Ronaldo show? They were giving Arteta so much crap. I agree and I don't agree, but like I didn't think this one was as bad as some of the others.
Especially when he's playing against Jurgen Klopp, who goes bonkers on if he wins a game like that. Like, Ian Wright had a great his video on Twitter that it's like I want to do it as an actor for a monologue audition where he's just like, can the man have fun? Can he enjoy this moment? That was that. Look, I don't like in any sport the whole they all conspire against us, yada yada yada. But at that moment, I was like, you guys are feeding a narrative to those kinds of fans right now because like they beat the top ranked team right now. Like
after kind of being on a slip for a little bit.
Yeah, they were on a slip. They had a slip in this game even and had to come back. Mm-hmm. After like slipping and letting.
Well, they lost to Liverpool the first round of the season in the game. They got knocked out of the FA Cup at the hands of Liverpool. So they haven't won since I think 2022 in a game that was like a 3-2 game. So yeah, it's a big win, and you're fighting for the title. And yes, it's a kind of a three-headed race right now with Man City. But you had they lost that, they would have been 8 points behind Liverpool. So that is a really big win for Arsenal and Arteta's group. And I found it funny. Do you know who actually one of the British pundits who came out and kind of bashed that?
Who?
Not Gary Neville, who you would have thought that would have been like the bang on answer. Jamie Carragher.
Oh, yeah.
Had some choice words. And maybe that's his Liverpool bias there, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
I mean, just that celebration was Klopp is actually the perfect person to be playing against in that game. That is no more than that man's ever done. But if Klopp does it, they all go, look at his passion.
I think that's how it should be. I think that not that I think that Arteta's ever putting on a show, but that shows your fans and it shows your players like, hey, wins are important and we care. Not just another day at the office. We got to win. All right, let's get them tomorrow. Like, it's showing that you know what, you don't see that Chelsea.
No. If you told me
Pochettino
Pochettino wasn't even at the last match, I'd believe you. Yeah.
And you don't see it from Jose Mourinho. Like, that guy never shows any emotion, and he ends up losing the locker room, losing the fans. Like,
I disagree with Jose. I think that's a bad example. The amount of times that he went storming down the pitch, that he's done knee slides and that sort of thing.
Well,
yeah, but he's kind of a dick about it.
It's Jose. Of course he is.
You're not wrong. Did you guys see the new commercial I sent, by the way, his new Adidas commercial that I sent you guys that he had filmed, I guess, before he got canned? And like, it's just, these shoes are for this special one. Like, it's so great. It's not as good as Match Night Heineken commercial, but it's pretty good. No, I don't that, to be honest, like, I wasn't even going to bring it up, Ferris, and I was excited you didn't have it on here. Then, of course, you brought it up because I hate that it, like, I'm like, are these guys just doing this to keep that narrative going so people will? It's so weird to me.
I think it's not a narrative, but Arteta does have that. If it's going well, I'm a happy kid. If it's going bad, I'm going to throw my toys out. With the pram, and he has that, right. Yes, he is a very emotionally invested guy in the club and what he's trying to build, and he's done a very good job at that. But how he is ranked amongst the most petulant when it comes to these type of things is this only got brought up and kind of taken away from the game because of what he's done in the past, that there's a pattern of behavior there.
So he can't celebrate.
That's not what I said. It's a pattern of behavior of either over celebrating or being so sour about it or coming. He has this very.
You mean sour when like VAR
really
is absolutely
really
wrong? When VAR is absolutely wrong and he's mad about it.
But it's also him coming constantly out of the box.
So thank God Tony's in the box. He knows about
how he does those things though. is why this caught so much tread after the game. And that's what, not just like we're talking about here, like pundits on Sirius XM, overseas on all of those type of podcasts. It was a topic of the game. So it does detract from Arsenal in kind of a twofold way, right? It detracts from them when it's going bad. It takes that bad performance or maybe that they didn't get the win off of the team and puts it onto him. That's kind of a good thing in a way, right? And in this, it's kind of that double-edged sword because Arsenal deserved the win here, but it kind of took it away because of him. So it's a weird.
I don't think it takes away from him. If you're an Arsenal supporter, it doesn't. Everyone's like, hell yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, in fact, people complaining about it, to be honest, I mean, you know what's great? Feed it, dude. So he can keep going back in the locker room and saying, you see, the world is against us. Like, I feed it, man. Take it. Like, I think it's a silly thing if you don't like Arsenal to keep feeding into that, because I think it helps them more than it hurts them.
Honestly, and I'm not saying that this is fair or that I agree with this is how it should be. I think the reason that a Jurgen Klopp gets away with it and Arteta doesn't isn't because he's too sour this time or too happy. I think it's just he in general doesn't seem as. He's not as approachable just as a person, and I don't think he's a bad guy at all, but he's not like Jurgen has that I want to have a beer with him thing.
That smile jolly type, yeah.
Which some people have and some people don't, and that's not a value judgment either way. I think that Arteta just isn't as approachable as a guy. He doesn't show as much of his personality in general, I don't think, in a general sense, not just in a post-game sense. And I think that makes everybody kind of look at him in a more jaded way. Not like, oh, well, that's Arteta. It's our buddy. And that's not fair. I don't think that's fair to Arteta, but I think that's part of it. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense, but
it does.
I'll tell you what, too, man. Like, there was a lot of when It's funny that he doesn't get it now, but when Unai Emery was manager at Arsenal, a lot of the press in England gave him stick for his thick Spanish accent. And it came across a little not
that's part of it.
A little problematic at times.
Absolutely.
And I'm just saying. I remember those Unai days and all like paid like professional pundits that are mimicking his accent with his his good evening thing that he like I don't know, man. I don't know. It's I don't like it. I do not like it at all. I've seen a lot worse. And I've seen a lot worse just being boring too.
Yeah. I'd rather somebody that wears their heart on their sleeve all the time. And the downside of that is sometimes your coach gets a few too many yells and has to sit a game up in the stands.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
He's kind of like, it's going to be a terrible one, but they both played together at Everton. Yeah. And he just retired, but he's kind of like the Merriman Fellaini of managers. Less hair and not as tall. But you love him when but you love him when he's on your team. You hate him when he's not on your team. Kind of type of feel to him, right? Because you're going to have Arsenal fans love him, he's great, and then everybody that's not going, oh, look at those antics, look at him, he hasn't won a damn thing, and yada yada yada. So it's kind of again that double-edged sword with him.
You know what he has though? He's won more than the Spurs have.
No, that's 100% true.
I still love how often Jose's like they're about to go into a final and they fired me, a club that has no trophies in their cabinet.
But also Jose, like he has the track record to go, hey, put up or shut up. The man has a tattoo of 3 trophies on him. You don't do that unless you've won 3 of those things.
It is a terrible tattoo. It looks like he was drunk on some wine and just went to like that place. We'll go there.
My God, I hope
it makes Jose happy when every time he looks at it. Honestly.
Or an amazing tattoo artist, and you're probably like, oh my God, I'm so nervous right now. It's gonna.
I just hope that his like autobiography comes out one day and he shares a story about that, because Jose may come up later, as there was a lot of Chelsea fans calling for Jose to return.
And I am here for it, ladies and gentlemen. I can't to be well. Okay, we'll get we'll get there. I'll wait. We're still doing it. I'll get there when we get to Jose. I'll get there.
The only thing I want to say about this game, if I can real quick, that I am kind of like throwing my toys around slightly about, is that Konate yellow, second yellow, is never a yellow. That is sure, it's a foul. That is not a yellow card.
Never. You know what, man?
And that's
don't get the first one then.
I mean, and I wouldn't dare say that like we lost the game because of this. We lost the game 3-1 instead of 2-1 because of that. But I wouldn't say we lost the game because of that.
But Tony, here's where I will defend you in a bit. Yes, it's never a card at all, right? Foul.
And we had those go my way too, so that's how it is.
Yeah, never a card. But you were without, as you said, Slobosai, without Salah, without Endo. Mm-hmm. Darwin Núñez came off the bench. You're missing one more. Who was the kid?
Came in off the bench. Bradley was out because his father passed right after he started his first. Got his first start.
So some noticeable not in the squad because of X, Y, and Z, but nonetheless, I think it at the end of the day, as I kind of said earlier, Arsenal deserved the win. They earned the win, and they got the win.
That Trossard goal, it was funny to me because it was at such an angle that the Gabriel Jesus one was the week before, almost. That almost flat angle that I was like, oh my God, it went in. Like, it's 2 in a row. You know I like to bring up
one.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. If we had lost 1-0 on that Trossard goal, I would have been like, sucks, but got to give him. So that's a great goal. It was the other 85 minutes of that game.
And very weird, like the center, like Saliba and Raya and Van Dijk and Bender just could not. It was the weirdest thing because you're talking Van Dijk and Saliba, probably two of the best top 5 center backs in the league at the moment. And who do you blame there on each? And we've talked a lot about Raya and kind of how that's happening with the club and then, so on and so forth. But then Alisson is one of the best in the league and has such a track history of just being consistently great that it was just such a weird game in that respect that the center back and goalie
we've seen him have like a one-off bonehead, tries to do something fancy with his feet or does a silly pass that he kind of. The only thing I'm surprised by is usually when he makes those mistakes, it's because he shaved his beard. So it was weird to see him do it with that whole gorgeous beard.
Well, it was, I forget who did it, but my favorite tweet was the top 2 teams in the league, or 2 of the top 3 teams in the league, and 2 of the most just shambolic goals ever scored for the season.
100%,
it was so weird. That it happened almost back to back. This miscommunication between that was so weird. Now that being said, I will say why Raya is starting. It was shown in that match. One of those goals was directly because of his ability to play out that back like he does.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because that's if you're a Twitter with Arsenal, you'll see a lot of Raya and Ramsdale conversation if you're a fan. But you definitely was a different conversation out of that match. Like, guys, see, this is why they both are prone to make boneheaded mistakes. At times, Ramsdale can pull off more. Oh my God, I can't believe he saved that moments than I think Raya will. But Raya provides more scoring abilities. His ability to play quickly out of the back is really good, and I think that's just the gamble that Arteta's going with is I don't have all the reserves to really do this like a Man City. So go, just go and let's see if we can make it happen.
After this weekend, Ramsdale was clearly better on the bench.
Wait. Yes, him yelling at the ref to quit wasting time and because the battery died or something in his in his pack and he was getting something switched out, and he's over there just yelling at him for wasting time and giving him all this stick. I'm like, it's funny, but be careful because they'll probably give us yellow quick for that, just to one of the players for wasting time later. But
he threatened to give Liverpool. I don't remember who it was. He threatened to give. I think it was Trent. A yellow for time wasting. It's like we're down 2-1. Why totally be time wasting?
Yeah, that was
out of your mind. I think I texted as soon as I saw who the ref was. I was like, somebody's getting
Anthony Taylor. Yeah,
which is exactly why Ramsdale did that. And it was nice to see Ramsdale hugging Raya after the match and everything too. So I don't know, man. I don't. Obviously it's a weird situation. It's a shame we're not doing an Amazon behind the scenes this season. So we could get a vibe for what's going on. I'm really curious about it, when it's all said and done. I think they're both really good at different things. If you smash them together, world class. I mean, I do think Ramsdale's ability to talk to the guys in the back and keep it rolling and is really good. And he'll go for these crazy saves that he makes, but then he'll get himself out of position and get scored on when he shouldn't have. I don't know. But he doesn't play out of the back very well, which is clear that is what Arteta wants. So whoever, even if it's either of these two gentlemen starting next year, whoever is the keeper, they have to be able to play out of the back. That's going to be his thing. You can tell that's what he wants. But I mean, hey, I'll take it. Here's the downside. I'll creep a little into the 2-minute warning. Man City still had 2 games in hand after this match was over. Now they have 1 in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still the problem.
And I think I texted you all, this match is good and fine and all, but between you both, who's going to beat Man City in the second half of the season? Because that's going to be telling.
Do you remember what my response was? It being very honest, with Kevin De Bruyne back, I think it's a tall order for either of us.
Well,
De Bruyne maybe.
And we talked about that in a previous pod, how like, okay, they've slipped up here or whatever, but like they get De Bruyne back in a few weeks. They get like, and then this all starts to happen where they just do what they've always done. And so everybody's still sitting here going, oh man, this is a fun title race. I mean, City's going to win, but it's great to finally have like 3 clubs going for it for a change. Like,
well, I think we both Arsenal and Liverpool messed up in that, like we do every year. When Man City drops points, you got to win that weekend.
Right.
You have
to capitalize. Yeah.
And you would take a loss or we would take a draw. And it's like, no, that you need to get those.
It's okay, baby.
Because Man City's not going to drop it.
Luton Town's got us next week. They're gonna.
Hey, we'll get to them here in a bit.
They're gonna take on Man City.
Goals.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Kevin De Bruyne came out and said like he's only playing on like 70% right now, like fifth. But the guy could ping a pass from here to the moon and hit it exactly where Neil Armstrong landed. Like it is amazing what that man could do. And absolutely 110% hell of locks on that man's head. What hair that guy has?
I said he is the pasty man's Olivier Giroud. Like
100%,
he's got some good hair going on, man.
The Belgium Giroud.
The Belgium Giroud.
And we'll end this because we're a little bit over time. But Tony, do you remember what I sent to you all? I think it was you, me, and Blake all sending that back and forth. I said, "Don't worry, gents. We all will be Premier League winners when they vacate all of Man City's Premier League titles."
Yeah,
I'm convinced that they're saying the reason they're gonna dock Everton a second time is so that whenever they give Man City's deduction, they'll still be.
It'll be astronomical.
Did I say that? I think I said that. Yeah, I was like,
make sure that they're 17th.
Do you feel it? We're like, hey guys, sorry, you are the sacrificial lamb. We're going to get them with this rule, and so we're getting it. We got to get it with you too.
Premier League makes way too much money off Man City being up there, so if they could just drop to 17, and that means we got to make Everton.
And you know how it worked? A couple people complaining about their clubs not signing people, but not most. Usually, people are freaking out and yelling because their clubs yada spend whatever it takes, get this guy, get that guy. Nobody was like that because they are all. I mean, which that means that point deduction is doing its job, at least for the fans watching it. Who aren't like, yeah, go, do this. And clearly the club.
I thought it was just because Chelsea already signed all the available players.
Oh, well, I guess we'll get to them in that corner. We'll get to them in the corner because they're. I don't know if Ferris went over about the ex-Man City accountant or whoever who was looking at things.
I didn't, but we can get to it in the catastrophic.
We'll get
Chelsea corner of without Ron. I can't remember what it is now.
Ron, if you're I think he flies in a couple of days. If he's not flying today, God, I hope, if he's flying and has to listen to this on a long flight, God, love him. There you go. All right, well, some more sweet music to Ron's ears. The Manchester United youngsters shine as United get 2 wins in the league. Get 2 wins in 2 in the league this past week. On Thursday, last week against Wolves in what was a wild 4-3 game full of goals, penalties, late goals, Manchester United left the Black Country with all 3 points as they outlasted Wolves, courtesy of a lovely strike by 18-year-old Kobe Minu. Who is that?
Kobe Manu.
Kobe Manu. Who?
He is a Man United legend already at 18 years old.
They literally grabbed him from like the local high school that morning. We're like, you want to come over? And
come on, man.
Come on and play. Let's see. A lovely strike. Kobe Manu in the 97th minute, which followed a match-tying goal in the 95th minute. Wait, that doesn't make sense.
It probably doesn't. It basically just drawing the point that there were some late goals. There was a 95th minute goal that drew it level 3-3 as United was up like 3-1 for majority of the game. Then there was a penalty, which was not a penalty, to make it 3-2, and then 3-3, and then 2 minutes after that where you're like, oh my God, United are going to draw this match. This 18-year-old who's been playing lights out since he's kind of been injected into the team just nutmegged somebody and then calm as you like curled it around the goalie from outside the box.
And then, which I'd be honest, that game almost felt like wow, you won, but it doesn't feel like it because it was such a mess. But then flash forward to Sunday and Man United win again, this time much more definitively with a win over West Ham by the scoreline of 3-2. nil, courtesy of another Rasmus Hoyland. How do you say his last name?
Hoyland.
Which sounds like a sauce to me, Hoyland sauce.
Okay, I can go with
you
that.
like that? Turned 21 years old on the day. Scored. It got the goal in a brace by 19-year-old Alejandro Garnacho. I mean, you guys looked really good. Your question is, gentlemen, are United youngsters helping to turn a corner in the United season? Do you think it's like a movie and the guys who have been there because they feel like they should be just don't care, and then somehow these young dudes have a chance and go, I'm going to do it?
No, because in the end, we're still talking about a team that's in 6th place, right?
But you're still having a team that's got like Rashford, who just watches balls creep by him.
He's been better, but we also have a -1 goal difference. We started off with like a -6 before these 2 games. Somehow we got to, we're in the top 6, but we have the lowest goal difference.
The fact that you're that high on the table and have a negative goal differential at all is insane. I mean, more power to you, but
it's because we either win or we lose. We barely draw games. Like, we have only 2 draws, which is the least amount of draws in the league. So it's either one way or the other. So we either get 3 points or we get no points, but we rarely get a point.
I mean, you got Newcastle 3 down from you with a positive 11 goal differential. That's bonkers.
They almost lost to Luton. Give me a break.
But I'm just saying,
Luton at Luton. I don't even want to hear it.
Hey, you wait till you go to Luton, baby.
So when you talk about United's youngsters, I didn't even fully realize this, so I don't remember what outlet kind of posted this, but there was, in the West Ham game, Garnacho set up against the whatchamacallit, the advertisement board, and Kobe Manu and Rasmus Hoyland came and sat next to them. It looks like a boy band cover of their next album, right? Like, our team is but we are great type of album. But Hoyland just turned 21, Garnacho 19 years old, Kobe 18 years old. Is that something that is maybe a class of your Scholes, your Nevilles, that young talent that came up? Maybe, right? Maybe that they have to do a hell of a lot to even compare in comparison to what that class was. But I think more so than just the youngsters kind of getting them across the line, 2 games in a row played your ideal type team, where you have Garnacho off on the right, Hoyland down the center, Rashford off to the left. We have people fit and back, right? Shaw is back. Shaw makes a huge, huge impact at that left back spot. Casemiro's back. While not a great season, he definitely adds that experience and that veteran leadership that allows Kobe to get a little bit more forward and kind of play more box to box than he does. You have Varane, who's playing next to, unfortunately, Martinez was playing fantastic and lights out for the 2 games that he was back, but now will be out until March because thankfully it wasn't ACL. But so you have a consistent lineup that has kind of started. And I think that is helpful because United, a lot of other teams, just has been injury, just ravished throughout the season. Are they great? Are they going to win the league? Will they make top 4? All of those are, the first 2 are definitely kind of no's, but top 4, maybe. But if this young group of talent can continue on, and yes, it's a nice win against Wolves, who have been very, very solid as of late, and a nice win against West Ham, who have been very solid of late. And I think the West Ham one was like the first win against a top 6 or top 8 team in the past like year and a half or something. Like it was something weird like that, or maybe it was all season. But we'll see. Since the ownership of Sir Jim has come in, there's a different vibe is starting to change, where maybe we are more positive. Maybe we are starting to turn the corner slightly, Blake. I know you're
2
looking
weeks.
slightly.
How long has this dude been there? What is Sir Jim the Mighty Knight done in 2 weeks? What how long has it been?
He listen. He got Man City's CEO from them, right?
Fair enough.
He's loaned some people out. He's at least they're evaluating the club. They're not making rash decisions. They're not saying, Ten Hag, you're automatically out. They're seeing how it goes. So even just to have a partial ownership of what the Glazers stronghold had was positive news, right? So slight good vibes in the other way. Slight good vibes, but I will take it.
I will say that they're showing, to make a comparison to what you were saying about Chelsea last week, where you're just, what's the plan? Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do for Man United, but I at least see I see where they're trying to go. I can see some things starting to click, or even if it's we're going to try something and it might not work, but at least I see options. I think, I don't know if there's a top 4 in you for this year, but I don't see you going any lower than where you're at.
I don't either.
You. I mean, part of that
top 6.
Part of that
West Ham. I don't know. They just don't convince me, and I don't know what it is. I'm unconvinced.
David Moyes.
Isn't it the same thing though as the last few years? Oh man, they've come out kind of strong. Whether they started or mid-season picked up strong, but they cannot stay consistent, right? It's like the reverse of Aston Villa. Oh, they're picking up, and then they picked up and never stopped. Yeah. And West Ham just, it's up, down, up, it's up, down, it's up, down. And that thing is, I would actually say West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, that little group, real similar in that sense.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I think Ferris, you're good to go back to Europe, because 1, I think you're turning a corner, and 2, I don't think those other 3 teams are going to turn a corner.
Yeah. Sadly.
We will see. It was a good week. Don't want to get carried away, because it's been a roller coaster. One good result and then a terrible result. We actually patched together 2 good results. Who the hell knows what we'll do in the next result? But until we get to the end of the season and see where United's actually at, it helps that we're only fighting on 2 fronts, I think. And as we get people fit and back, hopefully a Martinez type thing that doesn't happen to more. But that will certainly help if a consistent team can stay out on the field. So we'll see. There is a slight bit of hope there. So I'll take it.
Your spark of hope. That's what we're gonna call. That's what we're gonna call this season. We'll get you a little Star Wars Rebellion shirt.
I'm cool with that.
All right. I'm gonna push us on into the 2-minute drill. We'll make up a little time here, catch us back up. So let's all recap the other results from the Premier League weekend in our 2-minute drill. And special guest Tony, why don't you start us off? You are officially on the clock.
Okay, he's no Klopp, but Ginger Mourinho, Sean Dyche, comes from behind twice as his Everton side get a 2-2 draw against Tottenham, despite their former Everton Richarlison getting a brace against his former side. Will Everton survive the season?
Survive the season. I didn't write this, by the way. Anyone listening who's a Spurs fan, Ferris wrote that.
Hello.
I think I said this a few pods ago. I kind of feel like what he came out swinging as a manager with, other clubs have caught on to quickly, and he's not adjusting the Spurs game. And that's where I think they're getting in trouble.
Yes, it's going to be a double-edged sword with him. They're going to play the same way. They're going to win by it. They're going to die by it. I think the Everton will survive, to answer the question, just because of Sean Dyche. Because somehow he just adds gravitas to this team that has them fighting for every point. I mean, the goal was scored in the 97th plus or something?
Do you say that even if they get another points deduction?
Oh no! If they get another points deduction, it's over. That's
probably not.
That's not on him. And if they get another points deduction and he keeps them up, he's manager of the year.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. He should be manager of the year if he managed to keep them up. I think. I'm gonna tell you what, the way Luton has been playing makes me very worried for Everton.
Fair enough. Yeah,
and That's why I think another one, it's done. You're automatically done at that point. And it's, I mean, Luton would love that because I think it would pretty much guarantee them that they'd be all right. They'd be all right as well. Yeah, man, I don't think it's happening. But what about the Spurs? Are they going to survive and stay in Europe?
In Europe, yes. In the top 4, or for Champions League, no.
Because of what I said, that he's just not changing.
It's just it's a first year thing. Yeah. You know, it's tough.
For their sake, they shouldn't. They need to focus on one front because they got a lot of stuff to work out, and they need to keep it simple. And if they only have one league to worry about, they can maybe hit something.
All right. God, that 2-minute thing is a lot harsher than the air horn we usually use. Okay. Brighton shatter Palace's crystals as they score in the 3rd minute and don't look back with a 4-1 win over Palace at the Amex. How much longer does our lovable Grandpa Roy have on the job? He's got long. No, he's got through the season unless Jose Mourinho is taking the job. Because I don't think there's anyone else. I don't think there's anyone else they're getting in over there.
Yeah, but according to you, Blake, Jose Mourinho now needs to go to Liverpool, Newcastle, and now Crystal Palace.
Let's wait till we get to Chelsea
half
corner.
Of the teams. Yeah. Like by the time of it, like he's going to say Barcelona. All the teams.
Yeah, get him to. We just got to get him. We'll get to Chelsea corner in a minute. But
he's coaching the Seattle Sounders.
I would take it. I think he goes through the season. I just don't think they've got. I don't think they've got anybody to, unless he says, guys, you need to do something different, and I need to step down. Which it's possible for him to do something like that.
Yeah, I think they would need to drop another 2 or 3 places before they consider dropping him. Other than that, they're going to do him the respect of keeping him there through the end of the season.
That's what I think. Unless Jose Mourinho wants the job. Come on, Jose. We want you back in London. Come on. Jose with cheerleaders out there. They got to do a cheer.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Blake, you just sold me on that one.
Yeah.
That would be great to him. Like,
yeah, you got to make a cheer
walking
for
out
him.
And then, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see him like starting to go out and be like, oh, they have cheerleaders. Let me pretend to drop something and bend down and then glance back and see what they are.
If they don't do a special one cheer, 3, 2, 1, the special one. We're gonna come up. I'm gonna come up with that.
We are the Golden Eagles. He is golden. We love him. Jose Mourinho
writes itself.
Yeah, it does. All right, Ferris.
All right. Burnley come from behind late in the match against Fulham to gather an important point against Fulham. It was 2-2 on the day. Can Burnley rally in the season?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
No. This is, I think, a quick one. I don't even think it's a 2-minute one. Burnley's toast, man. They haven't done. They suck. I mean, they haven't done anything.
They would be bottom of the table in any season that didn't have this Sheffield team.
Absolutely.
100%. And they're also 7 points below a Everton team who's already lost 10 points.
No.
So, brutal.
Yeah, put that in perspective. Exactly. Yeah, it's expect more out of the Burnley. I don't think we got it.
23 goal differential. Now it's not -40. What up, Sheffield? But good God.
Oh, we'll get to Sheffield here in a second. Don't you worry.
Does that bring it back around to Tony?
All right. Of course, you made me read this one.
Speak softly. Yep. We don't want your wife to throw something through the door.
Caitlin's Newcastle United have come two from behind at St. James Park to draw 4-4 against Luton in what was an awesome, thrilling match to watch for a neutral. Gentlemen, Luton currently sits safe in 17th, 1 point above Everton. Will they finish there in safety come the end of the season?
I sure hope they do.
I think, as much as I don't want Everton to get relegated, I think that I have more faith after the point deduction in Luton Town than I do Everton right now. I know you're talking about the Sean Dyche effect, but man, I don't know. There's also a psychological toll that I think is happening that it's hard to account for, right? And then to be like, oh, the world's against us. We're going to fight back. We can still keep ourselves here with the neck down. Hey, you guys might get another point deduction. Well, how much energy do you think that just like sucks right out of everything? Like, I don't know. I don't.
And remember, they have a game in hand still too. So they win their next game, they could jump up to 15th.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Luton Town's on 22. That's very, very true.
Yep. Yeah. Luton, God, I sure hope they do. It would be almost the story of the season if they do stay up, right? Because everybody had them going down at the start of the,
Oh, hey, Luton Town plays
season.
Sheffield United this Saturday.
Yeah, and
15th. They're going to score 87 goals.
100%.
Right.
100% they will. Over under 86.5. Go ahead.
Are they playing in Sheffield?
Nope, they're playing in Luton Town. Wait,
how did score 94 goals?
They're going to score in every person's apartment home around the place. A ball is going to fly into everyone behind the goal.
They were able to get 4 goals in at St. James. They're going to demolish Sheffield.
I will say, though, yes, it's Luton, but to be up in the game and then to go 2 goals down behind Luton at home, very easy for Newcastle to kind of sink into like, oh my God, what did we just do? But instead, they came back and scored 2 fairly quick goals shortly thereafter and showed a bit of resilience and fight. Yes, it's against Luton, but as Luton has shown, they've been just a tough side to beat this season. So all in all, almost a better draw for Newcastle than for Luton in a weird way.
If Luton had won 4-2, is Jose Mourinho the new manager of Newcastle next week?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
They are a team I can't figure out because they have so much talent, and I love Eddie Howe, and I think he's a good choice for them. But man, I just can't. I can't make it make sense in my brain how they drop games.
Well, especially like that one. That's one that they should have owned, and they did not. All right, Ferris.
Aston Villa absolutely demolished Sheffield United 5-0 on the day with 5 different goal scorers. You know who hasn't scored a goal?
Tell us.
Billy Sharp. Don't you bet the Blades missed the sharpness in front of goal from Billy Sharp. Yeah, I think they missed somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net, because at Villa, from almost the first moment, just all over him. And you kind of figured as much, but Sheffield just looked rough. They brought back their old manager, but it's not going to be survivable enough. And they just got to, just get there to the end of the season and then hopefully bounce back up again, straight away. But man, they're dire.
I don't see any bright spots with them. And Billy's having a great time playing for Hull in the championship and trying to come right back. So,
yeah.
Well, they're Sheffield. It's fun hanging out with you.
See ya.
Yeah, exactly. Late red in the match handed to Philip Billing really had no bearing on the match, as Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest sealed a 1-1 draw on the day. Do you make anything of Gio Reyna's substitute debut for the club?
I fell asleep before he came in.
Fair enough.
I mean, look, not yet. I think it's good. I think he's going to get time playing in the Premier League, and he wasn't getting time in Germany, so I'm glad he's here as, obviously a U.S. men's national team supporter. Not yet. I do think it looks, it does say to me that, like, this is going to sound silly, but, like, they brought him into play. You know what I mean? So I think you'll start seeing him get a lot of time.
Yeah, agreed, Blake, and I bet he starts the next game for them. Not enough sample size, if you will, for making that debut. Bournemouth, who have been very good as of late, just not quite clicking there. And Nottingham under Nuno Espirito Santo have been a tough side to beat. So, yeah, he's class and knows this league very, very well on how to set his sides up against pretty much any club. So don't know what you make of this. It's a good draw for each, I guess, but it not
better draw
a whole
for
lot of.
It's a better draw for Nottingham. Like,
yeah, sure, but not a whole lot to come out of this match as anything newsworthy, if you will.
Nottingham with 21 points, another benefactor of the Everton point dropping.
You know what's not fair? If Nottingham goes down, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, you see, the Americans, they do nothing for us. And it's like, you brought them in this late.
Yep. But
You
also
can't say
keep
that.
in mind, who else in this last round of FA charges was said to be in breach of those? Nottingham. So
that's right.
they may not get out of this all squeaky
League Man
clean.
City in
Well,
the league, so.
So wait, I should blow this whistle, but if Nottingham were to lose 10 points, then Everton would be nope. Yeah, no, that would be the best thing for Everton unless they also lose another 10 points.
if they lose 10, Sheffield might even get. No, that's not.
I was going to say, if Nottingham loses 10 points right now, they would still be above Sheffield. That's
Yes.
how bad Sheffield is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would actually save Everton unless then Everton lost. God, this is insane. The fact that we're going to end the season and not know who's really in the team club or in the league next year is bonkers. Abso-friggin-lutely bonkers. Well, oops. Normally play our halftime whistle, but I didn't download a halftime whistle because Ron usually handles those. So instead, since we're going to Ron's catastrophic Chelsea corner without Ron, I'll just. That's for you, Ron. Hope you're traveling safe. Ferris, I mean, what do you got here? Because this is your baby.
Okay.
What?
Let's get your type 5.
So over the past few seasons, several seasons, I can't really talk much as a Man United supporter, but at least we weren't a $1 billion loss, right? We were bad, but not to the tune of that amount. This is weird because I don't think Chelsea are a bad side. They're an average side at the moment, which is weird to say for a club that has spent that amount of cash to be an average side, right? So Cole Palmer started it off here with a good goal of sorts, and then it kind of went downhill. And there were some good bounces for Wolves, but in fairness, they punished them, right? They punished them. A hat trick from Cunha. Desai gets one, and it's 2-1 going into half, and then Chelsea just don't come out with a whole lot of fight and a whole lot of going for it. And mind you, they're playing at Stamford Bridge. So then Cunha goes on to score another, have a pen in the 82nd, and then 87-year-old Silva scores in the 86th moment. But all in all, man, you saw no energy in the stadium. Fans calling for Mourinho to come back, which is wild. It Potch, not really much after it just was so. It's rough. It's rough, and I feel for Ron because I've seen this in glimpses with what United's gone through over the season, and Blake, I know that you've seen this to some degree over the years, and Tony, before Klopp, you saw this to some degrees as well. But this seems like it's almost
not sitting in
worse
the bottom
in some way.
Not sitting in the bottom half of the table though.
Yeah, they're. Where are they at right now?
They're 11th.
11th. Wolves win puts them 1 point over them, but
it's not that there's not been worse teams. I don't know that I've ever seen a team that low after spending that much money. That's what we keep coming back to, right?
mm-hmm.
And they can't even count. So this is the time of year where, right, you go get a manager bounce, right, and try to squeak out a little salvage to the season. Right now, it looks like they couldn't even do that because if they paid the $10 million early termination clause for him, they'd be in FFP violation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they can't do it. So like, and also, what's that ex-Man City account or who was it that was saying like Chelsea's in trouble by my math for there's no way they didn't do what Everton did is what he was saying.
It's insane. Yeah. And they kept in these transfer windows when they would go for players and then another team would be interested like a Casado with Liverpool and Chelsea, or as a Mudryk with Arsenal and Chelsea. They keep raising the price because they're trying to outbid for these players that are not worth that money. Like, I was going to be furious if we got Casado for the price that they were pushing for. And I would have been right because he's meh.
Yeah.
Mudryk. But
Oh, same with Mudryk, man. Everybody in Arsenal's like, oh, we want this guy. Then now I'm like, whoo, man, bullet dodged. It's I found it, but it's a former Man City financial advisor who's claimed Chelsea are set to breach financial fair play limits and insisted he expects the Blues to receive a significant punishment, which could include a hefty points deduction. Obviously, this isn't official. It's just a former advisor out of Man City. So, take that all with what it is. But, like, I don't think it takes much math from looking at it to be like, well, yeah, I would think so.
And I feel so bad for Ron and for all Chelsea fans because they had the controversy with an Ibrahimovic owner, and when he leaves, you're like, finally we can get that dark cloud over us, and then they get in Oli, who seems just as much of a mess, maybe even a little bit more psychotic because he's more involved.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's like I almost wonder if we're going to find out like, this rich narcissist comes in and buys the club and just kind of does what he wants. Because like, again, like there's no plan, right? Did you need Mudryk? Did you need Casado? I mean, sometimes, look, we signed Pepe, didn't work out. Like you sign people, it doesn't always work, but like the crazy money that they paid people, they've got 1 million wingers. Like, I don't know. Like it's a real mess. I wonder how long does he keep the club?
Yeah.
Like, how long does he want to be involved with it? Like,
he keeps the club, right? I don't think there's any chance that he doesn't, or steps away from it anytime soon. I think what's weird here is you have some good players, and you could have a good team.
You've got 37 good players.
No, but just the way
29.
they're set up, right? 1,000 wingers, some expensive midfielders. Your right and left backs always hurt, and Chilwell and James. And your center backs consist of a young kid at 20-some years old on the lower side, and then a 37-year-old on the other side. That it's not quite the balance and where you could have been set, because Silva was the second best player on the field for Chelsea today, and that's saying a lot. Cole Palmer, great signing for them, you could say, and it's weird to say because they've signed some people that should have been great in terms of the price tag associated with them. But I think what I hope for Chelsea, and Ron may not like this, I hope they hang on to Poch. I hope Poch wants to stay there and do something, because doing what a United have done in the past 10 years of switching every few years, you're not going to build anything. Maybe with Poch, maybe you keep some of these players fit. You start a midfield of Fernandes and Casado. You move on Gallagher and get the other kid from Southampton that was 100 mil, and that's your three-headed midfield. And Juku, who did not have a good game in this, coming back from injury, finally getting some playing action with Cole on one side and a vet and Sterling on the other. Maybe you build some form of attack there, right? So I just don't know.
To your point, Ron texted us an infographic earlier today, but it was him, Poch, and Graham Potter, and they have almost the exact same stats being this far into it.
At 31 matches. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly not them. Like, it's clearly something else. And I think what it is there's just too many players that they're trying to squeeze onto the bus, and they all end up having to sit in the bus all like this, and then they're all sore when they get out of the bus.
They got cramps.
They all got cramps. They got pricks in their neck.
So
they're all having to share a hotel room because they don't want to get in trouble.
Right now, on Odds Checker, you're the highest, most likely, at least on the odds, for a manager sacked is Roy Hodgson. I don't think that's surprising. The next, though, is Mauricio Pochettino. What's nuts is Vincent Kompany is, by odds, better off than Poch.
But I can see, because Kompany has built a lot of cred with how he came up this season and how he took charge of that team last season. Poch, you're not going off of Poch as much as you're going off the owner, right? What's the owner going to do?
Yeah.
That's the unknown there of how are they going to handle that, because you bring in Potter and then you fire him 2 months down the road and you sack Tuchel before that. So what's the owner going to do?
That's why I don't think he's going to survive. I think there's no way.
Tuchel was the right
I
coach.
hope he does.
Yeah. I don't know if Tuchel was the right coach, but I don't think Bowley, like, I don't think ego-wise Pochettino is going to survive. Also, like, does he want to? Dude doesn't, I mean, in these press conferences, I mean, I don't know how you'd be in a good mood, but, like, we just talked about the Barcelona manager being like, this sucks, I'm out. You know? Like, and I don't know, man. I don't think I don't know if he makes the season.
We'll see. We'll see. That may be a cap on the catastrophic corner at the end of the season.
What sucks is I'm an Arsenal fan. This is going to be fun, and they're so bad. I just feel bad for Ron. Yeah. I can't even have fun with this.
I tell you, as a Liverpool fan, it got to a point where Everton being terrible wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, you were like, oh, negative point deduct. Oh,
because there's a lot of Liverpool fans, and I only bring this up because I feel like you could relate to it. There's a lot of Liverpool fans who would throw rocks at me for this. I don't want Everton to get relegated. I don't want my rival to get relegated. Sure. It's fun to play your rival. Sure. Like, that's the fun of sports. I don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
And hope to play him in the FA Cup? That's not fun, especially because of the whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. Also, you don't want to see him go down that way.
Exactly.
And you want to see. Yeah, I want to see Chelsea fighting for it and losing. That's the thing. If they were like going for it and sitting here, but right now. Okay. Who's sitting around them? Wolves and Bournemouth. We're not saying this about them, and they're one above and one below them. Also, they didn't spend $1 billion.
Well, there's that.
You know, but also like Wolves, hey man, they go to play Man United. They are going for it. You know, I don't know when I've seen Chelsea look like they were going for it in a while.
Well, Wolves went for it in this, and they won for it too.
Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's going to make the season, and I think it's so bad that Ron won't even make a bet with me. He never makes those bets anyway.
No, he won't.
Here, cheers, Ron. Here's to you. Hope you fell asleep at this part listening.
In fact, I will crack a new beer. Shamrocks and shenanigans. A lot of that going on at the bridge. Here we go.
Shamrocks and shenanigans at the bridge. Well, shall we move on to
it's a Simon and Garfunkel song?
Yeah, it does sound like a Simon and Garfunkel song. Shall we move on, Ferris, to the La Liga's roundup?
Sure, man. As I'm pouring my beer, talking through my glass right now. All right. On the La Liga's roundup,
I caught Ferris before he could even get a drink of that beer.
This could be a little bit different, right? We're not going to talk necessarily leagues. So instead, we're going to talk AFCON Cup that's going on over in Africa at the moment. Give you an update on that. And then Tony will make an appearance on the La Liga's roundup. And then we'll give you a little update from news this past week of the 2026 World Cup here in the United States. So first, we'll go over to Africa, where it's been an interesting tournament, without question. But the semifinals are now set, right? So you have... I'll tell you who's set first, and then we'll kind of go through some of the games. South Africa went through on pens against Cape Verde, and they will play against Nigeria. Nigeria 1-0 winners over Angola, courtesy of an Englishman, actually. Well, a semi-Englishman, Amendola Lookman, who's playing his club games over in Italy at Atalanta. I say Englishman because he had the choice and he chose to play for Nigeria. So they'll play against each other on one side of the semis, and I think that takes place tomorrow, actually, and then also tomorrow in the other games. And these were some wild ones, gents. I'll get to the other one here in a second, but DR Congo, 3-1 winners over Guinea. And the 3 goal scorers in this, Premier League. Two of Brentford's players, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Emba and Wissa, and then Musaku, who plays his ball with West Ham, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. All 3 goal scorers in this. They advance and will play the Ivory Coast. Did you guys catch any bit of this game or see what happened in this game? Okay. 3 goals, 3 red cards.
Oh, good grief.
2 goals from Ivory Coast, 2 red cards for Ivory Coast, 1 goal from Mali, 1 red card. This is all after extra time. So let me kind of just briefly walk you through this. In the 71st moment, I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names, but Mali puts one in, 1-0. Now, Ivory Coast are the favorites in this, not by much, but they are. So then this extremely weird things occur where for Brighton and Hove, Sammy and Dingra scores in the 90th minute. Then they go into full time, so it's 1-1, so they go into extra time. Then at the end of extra time, we're talking 2 minutes half and 120 minutes. 120 minutes, though, plus 3. I'm sorry, plus 2. There is a goal. 2-1 to Ivory Coast. And there is a red card in the 90th plus 3 from the goal scorer that just scored that goal. And then the 102nd, I'm sorry, the 120th plus 5, there's another red card on the Mali side of things.
So who got the most red cards out of which?
The team that won the game.
So they okay.
I think. I mean, this is how wild this game is. But yes, Ivory Coast, 2 red cards. Because I think I failed to mention, when did they get their first red card? Oh, in the 43rd minute, Ivory Coast got they were playing an entire second half. Man down. And I mean, this was an absolutely just wild game that I don't know, who or how this game occurred. There was a lot of, odd stuff that occurred in this game that you can Google it. You can go through and kind of see how this played out, but it is an absolute wild game.
Who's covering this right now? Is it on ESPN Plus?
In terms of like the TV coverage here?
Yeah.
I don't actually know that. I want to say it's Paramount Plus, but I could be wrong.
Fubo and Sling.
Okay, there you go.
That's who's got it.
A lot of us didn't see this, but you just look at the box score and you kind of see what occurred in terms of this incredible, escape and how they were a man down, came back to tie it up, and then so late in extra time, last gasp goal in extra time, and then he got booked, and just a wild one for Ivory Coast to go through. And man, I I wish this tournament was more prominently on channels over here, at least the streaming options that we have. But again, tomorrow at 12 p.m., Nigeria take on South Africa, and then Ivory Coast take on DR Congo.
Boom. Should we move over to the championship, Mr. Tony?
Tony, give us an update, because you were giving us a little bit of one before we started this here, there, pod.
Yeah, we won't go in super deep so we can save time, but I just want to kind of look at the contenders as they are currently standing. I'm going to say you can confidently. I'm going to stake my name to it. You can confidently tell your daughter that the Foxes are coming back, baby.
Yeah, they are. Yep, they are.
They're in first place at 72 points. Second place is at 61. They have a full 11-point lead on that. I don't see Southampton catching.
Oh, and by the way, an 18-goal difference to the good.
Yeah, they have plus 41 goals. Leicester just seems to be infuriated that they got sent down and they're coming back.
And no Madison, right? He's gone.
Yeah. And then it gets tight for a little bit. You have second place Southampton at 61. Third place Leeds is only at 60. Ipswich Town is now down to fourth at 59, probably embarrassed by the Maidstone game. But then there's another big drop. You have West Bromwich Albion, a full 11 points below that at 48. Now, the three of us would love to see West Brom come up because we'd get to see Daryl DK in the Premier League. Woo, love that man.
I would love that.
Would love that. And then only 3 points behind that is Hull City. I would like to see Hull City back as well. I'm not sure between West Brom or Hull City who I'd want to see come up.
West Brom, I think would be cool to see, but those playoffs are just brutal, and it can still change because you have Coventry City, Sunderland, Norwich, all on the same amount of points, just below Hull, 1 point down. Then you have Preston North End in there, and you can even go as low as Cardiff City, who are down there with 40 points that all have a chance and a 2-game go that could possibly be in the playoffs.
So between 6th place and, to put it succinctly, I guess, between 6th place and 13th place, there's only 5 points in between there. That can shuffle and shuffle again and shuffle again. But
that's 2 games.
Yeah, I think the Foxes, though, are pretty solid. And probably Southampton, that second spot is going to go between Southampton and Leeds and Ipswich Town, I think. And then there's another 11-point drop.
And remind us who automatically advances and who goes into that weird playoff.
I believe, and Ron could correct me on this next week when he's back on, but I believe first and second automatically promote, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 will go into the playoff.
Yep, that is correct.
Yep. It's like when they get to the final of the 4-game playoff. It's the most expensive game in the world, or something like that. For what that parachute payment? No, not the parachute. The balloon payment. Whatever the hell it's called. Going up to the Premier League, you get a hell of a payday.
Leicester City with the commanding lead, plus 41 goal differential. That is the opposite of the Sheffield Town. Of the Sheffield United.
You know, you mentioned Hull trying to fight its way back, and I just thought, my goodness, that's who needs to come to Chelsea, Steve Bruce. Get that man some pie.
Way to tie it all together. Yes, please. No Jose Mourinho. The other name you're going to say, Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce, baby. Heck yeah.
I love it.
Thank
you, Tony.
You got us some World Cup info there, Ferris?
I sure as heck do, man.
I'm excited about this.
Heck yeah. So a lot of news came out in the past few days here. I think on Sunday a lot of it was announced, but they announced where they're going to be playing the World Cup final. And guess what? They're playing it in Jersey.
Jersey, baby.
Or New York, Jersey, as they're calling it. Like, it's
MetLife.
East Rutherford, New Jersey, and MetLife Stadium, so where the Giants and Jets play, to be played on July 19th of 2026.
That is near where I live now. What does that cost? I haven't even looked into trying to do
the U.S. get there, any way you get in.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to go, period. I want to try to figure out how to go to that. I mean, I got to try to make that happen. How often does that happen?
When Aaron Rodgers is in goal for the United States after coming back from an Achilles tear that he used some weird surgery and salt for, and then makes the World Cup squad and keeps a clean sheet in the World Cup final, it'll be one for the ages.
I feel like I got to make it happen. That's a big deal, man. Dallas left. No, it was Dallas was looking like they were going to get it, right? Or was it Dallas or Houston?
Dallas, I think.
Dallas.
It was
Yeah.
Dallas.
Dallas,
And there was a lot of. It better not be because it's a turf. And they were saying, well, we can grow some grass and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
Jerry World, baby. Can you imagine a World Cup final in Jerry World?
no one could.
No.
That's
no one
why.
could.
Nobody's actually watching the game on the field. They're all watching that massive, wouldn't that be something?
The big jumbo.
No, the stadium's empty because nobody wants to go.
Right. And this is because where was the one in 90? Was it 90? What was the last World Cup here in the States? Oh, I should know this. I'm going to get crucified for this.
Oh, the 94?
94 World Cup, right? Yes.
Yeah, it was the 94
Yeah. Okay.
Cup.
Wasn't that played in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
because I know that the Women's World Cup, the 99ers, that final was also in the Rose Bowl.
that was
right?
Pasadena. Were they both in the Rose Bowl?
Because that was Chastain getting her
Mm-hmm.
her game-winning goal, which I want to say that was in the Rose Bowl. So were they both? I mean, it would make sense.
It makes sense to me.
Especially-
Yeah.
Especially back
yeah.
then, Rose Bowl's a huge. I mean, not compared to Jerry World or Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but at the time, Rose Bowl's probably one of the bigger stadiums.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. So as a lot of you remember, and you're probably like yelling at us in your car or whatnot, but Brazil was crowned the winner after defeating Italy 3-2 in a penalty shootout at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, as it ended 0-0 in extra time in 94. And that was the, if you ever watched the ESPN Tale of the Two Escobars, the whole Colombian team thing there and whatnot. But this will be interesting, to be playing in Jersey. At MetLife Stadium will be a heck of a spectacle and an advert for here in the States. And it was also announced where the U.S. men's national team is going to be playing, which is kind of confusing to me because we don't know what group we're going to be in. We know that we're going to automatically be in it because we're hosting. But how do you know the game schedule that you're going to be at these stadiums depending on the group? Because what if they're in the very last group? In these dates aren't games, how? But I guess because we're hosting, we're I guess guaranteed to be in a certain group, whether that's A, B, or C, depending on where Canada's at or Mexico's at, right?
Yeah, that would make sense.
So they'll play all three games, not sadly for us, but they will be playing those on the West Coast. 2 games will be in SoFi Stadium. The first group stage game will be played at SoFi Stadium on June 12th. And then they will play in Seattle for the next game and then back to SoFi in that third group stage game. So interesting and good for the U.S. Some consistency there. LA to Seattle, not terribly long to where you could travel here in the States. Playing in Seattle, you're going to play in Lumen Field where the Sounders play. That's going to be an awesome atmosphere. That's going to be a rocking atmosphere, right?
Again, at least
turf again.
currently.
Yep. But do we know for sure if they're allowed to play on turf or if they're going to have to cover that with grass?
I think they'll
so.
cover with grass. That happened at the Citrus Bowl in
Right.
Camping, or what is it called now in Orlando? Is that still Camping World
Yes.
Stadium?
Yes.
That was
Yes.
still
Yeah, I
Camping.
think you're right.
Okay.
But hey, that would mean that the Seattle Rain would get to play on grass for a little bit if they just say leave it on the field, just leave it out there.
Yep.
Well, it's hard to grow grass in Seattle. It doesn't rain a lot there.
Do you know where the opening match of the tournament will be held?
I don't.
I thought it was your mom's house.
That would be great.
That would be great.
We're all
I will
going.
take
We are
that.
all going down for that, dude.
Clearwater, Florida for the first World Cup game of 2026.
Heck yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
What's with all this corned beef and cabbage? Roll with it, man. That's
Don't
what's
you worry.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Actually, the complete opposite in a way. Mexico City will be hosting the first game. It's a joint host a joint host between us, Mexico, and Canada, and I believe the next game on the same day will be played in Canada. I think in Toronto. Toronto, and then followed by a pair of games in Vancouver. So that's where Canada will do their two games. So
is Mexico City, is that the Azteca? Or am I getting it confused with something
I
else?
believe you are correct. I think it will. I think that first game, which would be great.
Hopping. That place
For the first game out there, whoever is paired with them, just be that first game for the national team, who honestly by then they haven't looked great in the past years. They may not even qualify if they're not having to host. Now a few years and times can change that as they have some young talent there, but what a hell of a first game to be played in the Azteca. I'm trying to confirm that right now, but I think that's a great, place for them to start off a World Cup here on this continent.
That atmosphere is going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We have watched many a chippy U.S. Mexico match in the Azteca.
Oddly enough, I remember, what was it? But now retired Michael Bradley's like midfield strike in the Azteca. Like, what a goal and what a place to do it in.
Was the one prior to that the Snow Bowl that they played? Wasn't that against Mexico? Yeah, right.
Yeah. But that wasn't in.
No.
That wasn't in the Azteca.
Colorado?
That was in
Colorado, Columbus? No,
I thought it was in Ohio, wasn't it?
I thought it was in Columbus. Yeah. And the Azteca has hosted two World Cup finals before, the 1970 World Cup final, where Brazil defeated Italy again 4-1, and the 1986 World Cup final, where Argentina defeated West Germany 3-2. So Azteca has some iconic World Cup finals and games that have been played there. So no better way to start off the World Cup here in North America than the Azteca.
You remember that 1986 final, don't you, Ferris? We were almost 2 years old.
Yep. I remember it almost to the day. I can recall every play for you.
Got the stats memorized.
Yep.
Well, gents, I think that wraps us up for the pod. That brings us
I think so.
to our beer mentions. My beer of the pod was from New England Brewing Company's Fuzzy Baby Ducks. Their India Pale Ale. I mean, it's an India Pale Ale, but it I think I called it a New England Pale Ale earlier, but to me, it's got more of that vibe, but whatever. I'll roll with it. Fuzzy Ducks IPA. It's friggin' good.
I had from Toll Road Brewing right down the street from where Tony and I live in Ocoee, Florida. Shamrocks and Shenanigans, an Irish red from them. Absolutely fantastic. Already on my second.
Nice. And from Sideward Brewing in Orlando, Florida, I had a Dream Beach Brazilian lemonade style sour ale.
Why didn't we all do sour since Ron wasn't here? That is good.
God, that's a great shout.
It should have been. Yeah, the triple
That's a
sour
great
pod.
shout. Like that's a one of the like after the fact. I wish it
Toll
would
Road,
have.
not to get derailed, Toll Road does a brewing advice where you can choose your own flavor.
Oh.
Like they add the flavor in almost like they do if you go to a coffee shop. So it's
Yeah.
just a base sour ale and then you add a flavor to it.
I even had a bullet of it. I just was too excited about this beer that I found. Ferris, it should have been the sour grapes Chelsea corner. That's we should have called it without.
Oh man,
That's for when he's here.
Yeah.
that's true. That's very, very true.
Do you have a Solitan quote for us, Ferris?
I don't think I'm running quite low on those.
Yeah, you did one the other day that I went, I don't know if we've done that before or not. Because it's a good one I'd heard before, but I couldn't remember if it was on our show or not. If you don't have one, it's okay, because I've got 2 things for you.
As Latian said, I still feel I need to do things 10 times better than other players just to be accepted and to improve myself. I don't know how that pertains to what you're going to just say, but
I love it.
It's just the quote that I found.
To help us improve ourselves, if you enjoy listening to the pod, tell your friends, your aunts, your great aunts, your grandmas. We're all the elderly ladies loving the Brewtiful Game, as we've mentioned in previous pods. Leave us a review, get us a screen grab, show us. We'll get you we'll get something fun into the mail for you. And then I have a special delivery for Ferris that Tony actually sent me this. So Ferris, you ready?
Sure.
2 cowboys are lost in the desert. One cowboy sees a tree that's draped in bacon. A bacon tree, we're saved, he says. He runs the tree, and then he's shot up with bullets. Because it wasn't a bacon tree. It was a ham bush. Now, on a more serious note, Tony, my car got vandalized the other day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, it got keyed. There was like a whole, 4 lines, some hashtags, this big squiggly mark. Looked like a music staff. But luckily, the guy at the body shop said the damage appeared to be minor.
Well done.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I had to find a musician one.
The reason I couldn't come up with a quote is I just sent you guys a picture of what I was right below that quote that I was quite at all with and just in love with.
2 man buns?
Ronaldo with a man bun looking and giving Zlatan a hug with a man bun. So that kind of threw me off my game a little bit because I got a little excited there. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
That was too much man love all at once for you.
Yeah.
Too much man bun love. All right,
Blake,
boom.
Well done.
Tony, thank you so much for joining us, dude. That was fun.
Thank you, Tony.
Hey, thanks for having me, and thanks for taking it easy on me about the boss.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. If Man City were 6 points behind us, I'd give you some crap. But right now, I still need you to pick it up and beat them later.
Hey,
you need me to do the same.
I maintain what I've been saying the last few years. I would love it if Liverpool won the league. Really, I just want it to be anybody but Man City.
Yes,
anybody at all.
I feel the same. There is a tinge in me like, thank God we beat Liverpool. The other side is though, but man, if that gives Man City the that's gonna. I'd rather Liverpool get it. Yeah, yep, right there with you, dude. On that note, because we're clearly so nice to all the Man City fans that love us so much. Here we go, gents. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.
Never walk alone. Never walk alone.